Derek doesn't apparently mind that it's raining in Denmark onto his laptop. Apparently it's completely fine.
Everybody knows that for foreigners who move to Denmark, learning the language can be one of the most difficult things to overcome, but it can also be a lot of fun and some pretty funny experiences come out of it. So I'm joined today by our friend Conrad, who knows a lot about it, and Conrad Molden has actually made a career out of how funny it is learning Danish.
Attempting to learn the Danish language. No testing.
So, some funny things that, I've experienced is when you start speaking Danish to somebody, you literally only get out the word hi, and then they...
Exactly. They will swap immediately. And I've had experiences where I've been ordering something and I'll speak Danish and they would just reply in English. Like, hi, må jeg få en pølsehorn? And they're like, which pølsehorn would you like? Den der, that one. Yeah, tag, okay.
It's nice to try, you think you're giving the attempt, but they can tell right through.
Yeah, I think they're kind of scared that they're going to have to listen to you speak Danish. That's the problem. They're slightly terrified. They just want to move on.
However, it is funny, and the irony of getting the question like, how is your Danish?
In English.
With no intention, in English.
In English, exactly.
Yeah.
With no plan to ever actually...
No, I don't want to speak it with you. I just want to know that you're learning and struggling.
Exactly. And then you can say things like, it's really good. And then they'll go, okay. And then just continue. Oh, you're fluent. Yes. Okay, let's continue speaking English, obviously.
I sometimes get in awkward situations where I maybe overpromise my abilities in Danish. And then I realize, I'm not suited or ready for this conversation. And I just have to nod and every now and then drop in like, yeah, no.
Selvfølgelig. You have to throw in the little extra words. I find that the best tactic is always to have a drink, because as the conversation starts to die, then I would speak, but I have to take some of my drink. I'm so sorry.
I do find, though, if I have a few alcoholic drinks, I get a little bit better at the Danish.
Yeah, exactly.
My confidence goes up and
ability to speak Danish also somehow going up. You're like, hey, what's going on here?
Doesn't make sense. My English gets worse, my Danish gets better.
So Danes will spend a lot of time telling you that the pronunciation is only difficult because of the vowels, and of course completely neglect every other letter.
And all of the letters that you don't pronounce, and
yes,
many things about the entire words and not just the vowels.
And it starts to get into this crazy place where they talk about pronunciation, that there are more abnormal examples than there are normal examples, which starts to question what is normal and abnormal. If that's everything completely flips around.
I remember in Danish lessons, like, asking, okay, what's the rule for this? And basically being told, like, you just have to memorize when this is, there's not really a rule for it.
Yeah, you sort of guess and hope and then learn.
Did you take Danish lessons?
I did, yes. I went to Dansk Sprogskole when I first arrived in Denmark, mainly to socialize.
Yeah.
I have a little joke where I say, if you want to hear people speaking English, go to Dansk. Because that's all anybody's doing is just, and trying to, have drinks after.
Yeah, exactly. The biggest thing I got out of Danish lessons was international friends.
Yes, exactly.
That I could sort of practice Danish with. I feel like we all understood each other pretty well, but that was about it.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And just having a lot of fun and sort of, realizing altogether that no one is ever going to learn this language, except for the Germans. I always felt like the Germans in our group would sort of somehow, after the second day, just sort of advance and leave.
Yeah.
And go into their own special room.
I had a German guy that I was close friends with in my class, and we would often have to read to each other, and he would say, I think this word means vegetable. And I would say, how do you know? And he would say, because we have the same word in German. And I was like, well, then why are you here?
That's a really good question. Stop showing off.
Yeah.
Okay, the door is over there.
With Danish lessons, I also had a really fun experience because my partner is also American, so neither of us are Danish speakers, and I know that that's your experience as well.
Yeah, my wife is from Hungary, so
nobody to correct me, nobody to gently tell me what I'm saying is wrong, but it would often create fights for us because he would try to correct my Danish, and I would say, you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. Don't correct me.
Exactly. It's just the blind leading the blind. Yeah. You're just looking over the text and sort of slightly you're trying to remember what Google Translate told you last time, and that's what you're sort of using as your basis. So it's a lot of, you say it wrong, now they say it wrong.
Yes, we were just teaching each other our own mistakes. Or he would say, I think I heard it pronounced however, and it would just infuriate me because
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
How does he know?
And then actually in Danish class, I would often have the teacher ask me to pronounce something. We'll do an oral exercise and I would get corrected and then feel like she was just telling me the same exact word that I just said, but make me say it again.
Yes.
Nah, Derek. Yeah. And I would say, okay, yeah. Same thing. Nah, Derek.
Exactly. And you hear this all the time with Danish friends. You say the words, you're like, oh, det var super hyggelig. And they're like, what? Which I love, by the way, is that in Danish, vol is not rude. And in English, it's very rude. I'm looking for you, Bell. And then you've taken it back, you're like, oh, here you go. And then they will get more and more confused. And then one of them will crack it. Out of 20, one will work it out and tell the others in the same tone. No, det betyder hygge. And then they're like, oh.
Yeah, Vel always makes me feel like I've just insulted the queen or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's suddenly under pressure.
I thought you were happy. I thought you were so happy.
It's like they can say with kindness, "Well, snakker du om?" It's so aggressive in English. What are you talking about? You're like, I don't remember now, please. I want to leave. I want to go with the Germans.
Yeah, it is funny also getting that kind of unsolicited advice or help sometimes. Like you order a coffee, they don't like how you said like "Yevgen," and they'll say like, "Oh no, move your tongue here," and I'm like, just please, just flat white, please.
Yeah, exactly. You can see me struggling. Why?
Why? I didn't ask for a lesson.
Exactly. Like, now I did hear the East Cafe, and you're like, okay, you got it, you knew. Okay, let's all move on.
And it's also funny too. Like, I mean, I'm pretty okay with in a coffee shop the menu items. You know, latte transfers pretty well to Danish. But I have had people say, "Oh, latte." That can get me.
Yeah, I love the Danifications of other words. Like, I asked for a ciabatta, and after a while, she was like, "No, ciabatta," and you're like, "Okay, fair enough."
But sometimes, you know, Danes will also be helpful and maybe tell you how to pronounce their name in sort of an Anglified or like a English sort of version. Like, you know, a Jakob will tell you it's Jacob. And I always think like, I can say Jakob, that's an easy one. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jacob.
Exactly. And Miguel will say that his name is Michael, for example, something like this. It's so good.
One thing that I do miss though is like being able to eavesdrop on people's conversation.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that is the dream. And I'm in a particularly bad situation because my children are, of course, speaking Danish, and at home we're speaking English and Hungarian. So we don't really understand what's going on, and they have their Danish friends who come over who only speak Danish, and they're planning stuff. They're up to mischief, and you have no idea, and they can just talk to each other at the table. Be like, snacker, din far, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what did he say? And they're like, oh.
You're just waiting for like some prank to come off, like
Exactly.
bucket of water falls on your head, and you're like,
yeah, and you don't even have to hide in a cupboard to like plan this stuff. They're just doing it openly in front of me and like, no, that looks really huge.
I also sometimes feel like I'm walking around where I can't read, and I can read a menu, I can read the coffee shop menu, but sometimes I just hope for the best or hope that my interpretation or translation is close enough.
Exactly, especially when it comes to things like parking. They sort of look at the sign and it's like snacker, parkering, verbod, and you're like, that probably means I can park here, right? Probably just fine. It's like when you get a letter from Skat in Ebog.
Oh, yeah.
I just do the classic. This is in Danish. I don't need to read this. What?
I sometimes have like 4 or 5 things in my e-box.
Just 4 or 5. Mine
4 or 5.
It's like 22 unread thingies.
I'll read that. It's in Danish. At some point, I'll read it.
It's not that important.
I had a Danish friend once tell me they put a sign up in my building that said, "Please don't leave your items near the fire door." And another friend, I said, "Can anybody help me with what this means? Because I can't figure out all of these words." And a friend said, "Well, if it was that important, they would put it in English."
Yeah, exactly.
I thought, oh, okay, I don't want to just trust that. And yeah,
if it was really important, that's so good.
Yeah, it's funny some of those things when you translate them literally, like tak for sis comes to mind, which is something you hear a lot, and at first always was very confusing to me, and then realized, okay, thanks for last. Like, oh, yeah, you just mean like it's good to see you again, basically, or thank you for. I'm sure it was great the last time we hung out.
Exactly. But otherwise, it seems so specific. Like they're like, thank you for the last time that we hung out, and you're like, yes, I remember exactly.
Shoot, when was that? And at whose house were we? And
which bodega was that?
What meadow was that? Yeah.
Yeah.
When did I see you last?
Exactly.
Once I realized there's not that much pressure, it's just
it's a little
little type of system. Yeah, type of system.
There's a lot of tack in general. There's also One of my favourites, of course, is tag for a day, which is so weird in English.
Thanks for today.
Thanks for today, and you're sort of like, well, what did we do? Thanks for that. I mean,
Also, like, I didn't make the sun come up.
yeah, exactly.
It was nice. It was googly, but
It's really useful though, the whole tacking thing and throwing all the tacks around, because you feel like, okay, yeah, your day is kind of adding up together, you know.
and it's just figuring out what version of tack.
Exactly, the appropriate version of tack that you need.
And of course, there are so many other very literal, like compound words,
Yeah.
especially that I always love. I mean, we have them in English too, but to make a Danish word, it's usually pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like putting little Lego bricks together, and you can create like these, and you can also create new words that Danes will understand, which is amazing. But I just love that the spectrum is binary. There's either it has absolutely nothing to do with anything you've ever heard of, or it's the most literal version. You know what I mean? Like a flymaskine. It's a machine and it flies. Done.
Airplane.
Airplane. It's over.
Like today, we were kind of this word, weather optimist, weather optimist.
Yeah, true.
Because it's raining and
Yeah, exactly. And we have laptops open.
we have, and we're just filming in the park. So
There are so many good compound words. There's so many. I love the Spanish cuisine of a tortilla. In Denmark, it's just egg cake. Egg cake. Made of eggs, looks like a cake. There's also my absolute favorite, which is Santa Claus is just Juleman.
Juleman is great. Christmas man.
Christmas man. So good. A diary is a dagbog, a day book. Book for the day.
Yeah.
What about a night book? Whatever. What's it about?
Dictionary. Word book.
Word book. Exactly. Word book. It's over. It's like the guy was in a hurry, right? Like they're like, okay, here's all the things we need to translate, and he's just, it's just all the stapler, clips a machine. He clips, it's a machine, it's over. Christmas man.
Yeah, so many fun words like that, and also expressions like some Danish idioms. In fact, we have this video that you can watch right here of different Nordic idioms that you can watch next. And if you want to catch Conrad, you can head to
my website, conradmolden.dk, and you can grab tickets for an upcoming tour.
and we'll find that link in the description. Thanks for watching, everybody. Tack for today. Tack for today.